We're all on the same page.
What's that? Oh, I thought he was gonna, you know, I bet he thinks it's 6:30, because I thought it was 6:30.
I think it's because we had it at 5:30. It messed it all up, I think.
Yeah,
At what, we did have it at 6:30 for a little while.
right. So,
Waiting for
right,
Rocky,
I was waiting for Ange as well.
it. I thought,
Well, it's not,
That Rocco was-
we're gonna do the
Yeah,
pledge.
Rocky is not coming.
Oh, okay, we're gonna do the pledge and public announcement before.
Okay.
Gives you a couple minutes before we go online.
Okay.
Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
And also somehow the Zoom link disappeared from Zoom. So it's only gonna be on Facebook.
Facebook.
Right?
All right, you want me to make that announcement on Facebook? Yeah.
Well, it is on Facebook and I can post it to our YouTube channel if anybody wants.
Okay.
Afterwards, but
Yeah.
I don't,
Okay,
It's not working?
the Zoom link just, somebody could have went into the account and used it on accident. That's all I can think of. Cause it was scheduled. I mean, I pasted it to the agenda, so I don't know where it went.
all right. I'm to leave this mic off.
Yeah, you can, yeah,
Do we get feedback?
whatever helps them hear you better, I would say you can
Okay,
turn it off.
They get feedback, right, when I turn this on? Okay. Thank you for attending tonight. Let's see, I'll turn that down a little. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, thanks. Before we begin the formal agenda, is there anyone in tonight's audience that would like to present to this board an issue, a question, or a concern? Please stand and state your name.
my name is Donna Haley,
Yes,
and I am concerned about where I live at 400 block of Nelson Ave,
yeah,
absentee landlords.
Yeah.
I lived in 4 days, 6 months, I lived across the street from a dump.
Yeah.
On the right side of me, absentee landlord that lives in Ohio
yeah.
has a party house. Parking all night long. The plows cannot come and they cannot plow the lower part of the 400 block in Nelson Ave. I called the highway patrol, I called the police. They said it's their problem, the landlord's problem, but the landlord lives in Ohio and across the street, the dump, they live in New York. I have pictures, I did fill out the paper. In 4 days, it'll be 6 months. I lived with a box spring and a sink. And anyone that goes on Nelson Ave can see it, and it looks terrible. It's an absentee landlord.
I did get your email regarding the overnight parking. We're going to commence towing. If those cars aren't moved, we will have them towed. I met with the highway superintendent and the police chief today, and there has been in the Park Hill neighborhood a attempt to make some towing, not just on Nelson, but on Avon and some of the other blocks as well. So we are attentive to that. As far as the code enforcement issues, we will have those looked at as well. And if the difficulty there is that these cases go to the owners, they get cited, it goes to court. You have to have a determination from a judge. So this can take months, but it's in process, you know, beginning review phases in. So if we can, we'll try to move this as quickly as possible.
So you heard me that.
Yeah, we did get the email, and I typically respond, but I don't do it till we get things in play.
We, on Sunday, the last snowstorm.
Yeah.
Nelson Ave is a very busy street. They go to Wegmans, you know, you got Hale and Cody, they all come down Nelson.
Yeah.
It was one lane. Cause ours couldn't get plowed.
Yeah.
Cause of the cars. They were overnight parking. So thank you.
I grew up at 302 Colfax. My best friend lived in 406 Nelson. Yeah,
Thank you for hearing it.
and sorry to have to bring you out. Okay, any other issues, questions, concerns? With that, I'll ask the clerk to take the roll
Supervisor Michaelenko,
here.
Counselors Mannion,
Here.
Fiorenza,
Here.
Alex,
Here.
Ruckfischel,
Here.
Lee Hood. Here. And Dooley.
Here.
Okay. Carrie says she's only here for one issue, so I'm gonna move that right up to the top, or actually, yeah, it'll be quick. Yeah, I'll do you first, then we'll do the public hearing.
We're already past the public hearing.
Yeah, I'm already past the
Sure.
6:05. Yeah, come on. Need to hold you here all night.
Okay, so I sent out 2 quotes to the board for ERP Pro 9 and an ERP Pro 10. It's the accounts receivable portion of the financial statement or financial software that we use. Currently, I use a lot of spreadsheets and to track some billings that I do, so like fuel, the salt, retirees. So this software would help me be able to track it in one place, and it interacts with our cashier's collections module that the town clerk's office uses. And it can also be used for any other department that has billings that they want to do. So
Yeah.
the first quote for ERP Pro is to get it going now. And the second quote is once we upgrade to the version 10, this is just the cost to go to 10. If we waited till we went on 10 to sign up for the software, it would be a whole year. So that's why I'm asking to go the route of ERP Pro 9 first.
So, yeah, it's my understanding that this would make the sole source collections manageable across all departments.
Yeah. Every department uses it.
So again, this is something I really support. It'll allow the clerk's office to communicate with the comptroller's office and all the other offices or departments that are assigning costs. You know, so rec department runs a program, they can enter into this program.
Keeps
And
it all
you'll see
together.
those costs, the planning and zoning, the permit fees and you know, any other department that is I talked to Rock today, the gas purchases at the highway department from the other municipalities and emergency services and so on. So everybody can then go to one centralized financial record. And that's been the goal of,
But this is the same platform, right, that we just authorized rec department to move away from for their collections?
No,
No,
no. Recreation was a separate standalone. It was a Tyler Tech software, but it was its own separate software. This is with ERP. Pro.
gotcha. Okay, thank you.
It's the same company. I think, right?
Yeah.
Weren't we expecting a credit of some kind? You know?
Yeah, they're still working on that. I'm working with Ethan on that. Great.
How much the credit can be?
He hasn't got back to me on that.
Any-
537 a year in subscription fees.
Mhm.
Think it's worth it?
For my time, yes.
Again, this has been a long evolving process, but we've been working towards a centralized collection for a decade or more. And the good news is it's finally coming together. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to authorize purchase from Sarah and a second from Bernard. Any further discussion? Okay, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Abstain? Motion's carried. Great, thank you. Let's go to the first public hearing, development fees, local law. Ed, are you introducing that? or-
Just waiting for Angela to read.
Oh, Angela needs to read the public notice. Yeah, thanks.
Notice is hereby given pursuant to the provisions of section 20 subsection 5 of the municipal home rule law of the state of New York. A public hearing will be held by the town board on the town of DeWitt on Monday, February 24th, 6:05 PM on the question of amending DeWitt Town Code, Chapter 15, Section 1510 to establish an amended fee schedule of section 15-10 subsection A entitled Schedule of Development Fees. A copy of said proposed local law is on file in the town clerk's office, 5400 Butternut Drive, and may be examined by any interested persons during regular business hours prior to the date of the hearing or after. That is.
As Angela said, the town is looking at including some additional fees into our development fee schedule. To do so, we have to pass a new local law, and I will ask Alana to hopefully share just some of the new items that are in there for planning and zoning. And questions you can ask both of us.
I'll just give a brief overview of the major changes. The main reason to do this, there was a lot of confusion both in the department and with the public about some of these fees. It's kind of confusing how it's worded right now. So that was the main thing, was trying to kind of clean up the wording and make it less confusing. We removed some definition and some footnotes that seem more confusing than necessary or helpful. Increased the residential driveway permit fee from $30 to $50. Pulled operating permits for fireworks out of the main operating permit category and increased the fee for operating permits for fireworks from $65 to $200, as these will require more time and effort going forward once we get the code updated. We added unified solar permit fees for the town board's minutes of September 8th, 2014. Added fees for building safety fire inspections. Public and nonprofit agencies would be exempt, but this is something that's been pretty time consuming. We have working half time almost exclusively doing these, so we're looking to offset those costs a little. For commercial area variances, we added a fee for each additional variance after the first 5 variances. Under planning board fees, we changed some of the wording to make it clearer that the site plan review application fee and subdivision review fee would both be added to the base fee. There's been a lot of confusion about this in the office. Find amended site plan review application to be changes to a site plan that was approved in the last 2 years. Added separate lower fees for site plan applications for signage only and EV chargers only. So they would not have to pay the higher base fee since these are usually easier and faster to use. Find simple subdivisions to be a lot line adjustment or lot combination, not creating any lots. And change the legal engineering consultant fees or escrow payments. Section to provide a set fee structure based on lot area, which is also how we compute planning board fees. This was recommended by the comptroller and also part of the audit to try to make this, they've been set subjectively in the past, so we're trying to do a more formal structure. Those are the main changes.
Any questions, comments from the board?
I have a question.
Yes.
And I'm very going to be answering this myself. Residential driveway permit. That's to add a new driveway, a non-existing On a property.
Driveway, or like widen the driveway or like change your curb cut, basically.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Thank you.
Yeah, not just like sealing the driveway or.
Right. Thank you.
For those of you in the audience that are here from school or lessons, the town has a schedule of fees for various activities. So if you're a developer or a builder, you have a project that needs to go in front of a separate board, it's our planning board. There's three boards in the town. Town board, this is the legislative body, a planning board and a zoning board. The planning and zoning office manages all of communications with all three of those boards. So there's a schedule of fees, what we recently updated. Because our prior fees were just very low in cost, and most of these additional activities cost additional work. And a town by law is not designed to profit, but it can cover its own cost. So these fees allow us to take a little bit of the operation of the town offices and town government off of the property tax owner. And it provides the actual cost, which the town undergoes, are placed on the developers and the development community. And in some cases, the residences. So anyways, this whole conversation that you just witnessed, I can see a lot of uncertain faces pertain to this fee schedule. And you know, if you, and I have a copy of that in front of you, but it's available. So this town board is looking at updating or modifying its recent update of the fee schedule. And with that, I'll entertain a motion. Actually, I'll close the public hearing first, and then I'll entertain a motion to accept these modifications. From Carrie, second from Joe. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion's carried. Thank you.
Thanks, Lana.
Okay. The James Street Overlay District, local law, public hearing. I'll ask the clerk to read the notice.
Notice is hereby given pursuant to the provisions of section 20, subsection 5 of the municipal home rule law of the state of New York. Public hearing will be held by the town board, the town of DeWitt, on Monday, February 24th at 6:10 p.m. on the question of establishing a new chapter 192, section 64.6 of the DeWitt Town Code entitled James Street 2 to 3 Family Residential Overlay District for the purpose of improving, developing, and or generally enhancing the group of properties in the overlay district by including 2-family dwellings and 3-family dwellings and their accessory uses as permitted uses. A copy of said proposed local laws on file at the office of the town clerk may be examined by any interested persons during regular business hours prior or after the date of the hearing. And this and the previous one was also published on February 11th, 2020.
Right, again, this, I'll let Matt handle, but there's a section of James Street that's zoned residential and it only allowed single family uses. That section is between Lake Creek and intersection basically of West Manlius Street and James Street, then eastward to Kinney Street section. The northern half of that street has a number of homes, properties that are not in compliance with single family residential use. They haven't been in compliance since our original code was established in 1960. Most of those properties were built as 2 and 3 family units long before 1960. So what this section of our code, this update does, is it brings those properties into compliance. And one of the driver properties for this is the former Park Hill Tavern, right? That was in that district. It's always was 2-family and had a commercial use as a restaurant, bar establishment. Once the bar shut down, within 6 months, it was no longer in compliance as a bar and couldn't be reopened as such. Needed to be a residential structure, but even it's two apartments that coexisted for eons beforehand were out of compliance. And so in general, what this will do is improve the ability to maintain and improve those properties by bringing them into compliance.
I'll only add, it helps anyone who's looking to sell these properties. Typically, if you're looking to purchase a property, you do not want to buy a non-conforming structure. So it'll allow them to get the homes that they need to sell and buy the properties there. And like I said, it's just giving them protections so that things that have existed there throughout many, many years, the town is saying that that's okay. And I'll just add, this is an overlay district. It's not changing the underlying zoning. It's still a residential 2 district. So on your zoning map, which we're changing later, it'll still say residential 2, and there'll be some slashes or some sort of thing denoting an overlay district in that area. And that's all I have.
Any questions? Any comments from the board? Right, with that, I'll close the public hearing. And I'll take a vote to accept the local law. I have a motion from Jack, a second from Bernard. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried. We have 2 other actions that go along with this acceptance of the district. And so we have back-to-back public hearings. So I'll ask the clerk to read the notice on the James Street Overlay District, the establishment of the local law at 6:15.
Notice is hereby given pursuant to the provisions of section 20, subdivision 5 of the municipal home rule law of the state of New York. A public hearing will be held by the town board on Monday, February 24th at 6:15 PM on the question of establishing an amended chapter 192, section 10 of the DeWitt Town Code entitled Districts Established to include the mixed floating overlay district and subsection 192-10 M5 and the James Street 2 to 3 family residential overlay district in subsection 192-10 M6. A copy of said proposed local laws on file at the office of the town clerk and may be examined by any interested person during regular business hours prior to the date of the hearing. This was published in the Post Standard on February 11th, 2025.
This one is just very basically updating the overlay districts that exist in the town. This section is called Districts Established. And so in subsection M, which has all of our overlay districts, you'll have the first 4: business park, hamlet, residential vehicle overlay, and transportation and distribution node overlay. We're adding in subsection 5, mixed use floating overlay district, which we missed. We should have added that previously. That's been in place for, I think, a couple of years now at least. And finally, what we're adding now is James Street 2 to 3 family residential overlay district. So that just to tell the public and have in our code all the overlay districts that exist.
This is mainly a bookkeeping issue.
When you update one part of the code, very often there are other parts of the code that sometimes get missed, but also have to be updated. So this allows me to catch up on the mixed use floating overlay and then finish the update with the James Street and stay up to date.
Any questions, comments? I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion. From Joe, second from Max. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried. Okay. And the last one is the map. We also have to accept the map. And so we scheduled the 4th public hearing on the James Street Overlay District, the acceptance of the map, which is part of the local law. So ask the clerk to read the notice.
Notice is hereby given pursuant to the provisions of section 264 of the New York State Town Law and section 192-121 of the DeWitt Town Code that a public hearing will be held by the town board on Monday, February 24th at 6:20 PM. The town offices on the question of amending the official town zoning map to apply the James Street 2 to 3 family residential overlay district described in the proposed section 192-64.6 of the DeWitt Town Code when effective to the following tax map parcel ID numbers. Those are tax map 035-922, 35-923.1, 35-926.0, 35-927, 35-928, 35-929, 35-11-8, 35-11-9, 35-11-10, 35-11-11, 35-11-12, 35-11-13, 35-11-14, 35-11-15, 35-11-16, 35-12, 7.1, 35-12.9, 35-12-10, 35-12-11, 35-13-7, 35-13-8, 35-13-9, 35-13-10, 35-13-12.1, 35-13-13, 35-24-9, 35-24-10, 35-24-11, 35-24-12, 35-24-13, 35-24-14. Copies of the proposed section 192-64.6 of the DeWitt Town Code entitled James Street 2-3 Family Residential Overlay District, the proposed amended town zoning map and the proposed ordinance of the DeWitt Town Board to formally amend the town zoning maps are on file at the office of the town clerk and may be examined by any interested persons during regular business hours prior to the date of the hearing. This was published in the Post Standard on February 13th, 2025.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That was,
I'm done to be, glad to be done with that
The
one.
numbers.
yeah,
Those are all tax map parcel numbers that Angela just listed that are going to be subject to the overlay district. Anytime the town has to amend our official zoning map, we have certain procedures that we undergo, and that's in section 192-121 of the code. The procedure here is the town board decided that they will do this to help out the folks who live in that corridor. The town board submitted that to the planning board, who reviews it and then provides a recommendation, which goes over a series of criteria that are listed in the code in this section to amend your zoning map. So to the town board members, that is in your packet. The resolution from the planning board. Additionally, there is the map that's involved that the board can see all the different tax map parcels that Angela just listed. And finally, there's an ordinance that that the board will pass and Angela will put into our minutes that will list all of those tax map parcels that Angela just stated and will essentially say the town board is deciding to amend their zoning map to describe the overlay district. What the town board is doing is really passing this ordinance to make it formal.
okay. Again, any comments, questions?
And one more comment, that the local law we passed for the James Street overlay does not go into effect until it's filed with the Secretary of State or 21 days, whichever comes first. This motion should be conditioned on when the law is effective. So once the law is effective, it will change the zoning map.
Okay. With that, I'll close the public hearing and I'll entertain a motion. Max, the second from Jack. We'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion's carried. Again, I want to thank a number of you that were about. Max helped push this through, and Matt, thank you, Angela, and all, and Lana, the planning board, the number of individuals and folks that were involved in pushing this through, and it's long been overdue. Like I say, I know some of those properties have had a hard time with mortgages, other issues associated with the maintenance and upkeep of that little strip. Okay, so thank you. With that, I'm gonna move to the regular agenda. Alana, you've got the Onondaga County Planning Federation, the annual symposium.
So the annual symposium is on March 26th. It's an all-day training conference. Some of you've been to it before, but we have 14 people who'd like to come. There's 5 staff, 6 from the planning board, and 3 from the zoning boards.
Yeah, you've all seen that list, right? And for those of you that didn't hear, the county runs an annual planning symposium and DeWitt is always heavily involved. We are highly supportive of proper planning for a municipality. If you've ever entered a municipality that lacks planning, you may run into, or you'll see on the news where a fertilizer plant blows up in a neighborhood. You know, I've seen that before, and that's purely a lack of planning, right? There's no reason to locate a fertilizer plant or a neighborhood in the same location. So anyways, we support this, and it's also a reward for our volunteers. But our planning board and groups like the DACC or others that would like to attend, we offer that to them. So with that, I'll ask if there are any questions or comments from the board. If not, I'll entertain a motion from Sarah, a second from Bernard. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried.
Nice job, Alana, getting all 14 of those people to go. No,
Yeah,
it's,
I'm excited with our staff since we have
Yeah.
so many new people getting
Yeah.
training. Be great.
no, it's good to see that kind of participation.
Great, thank you.
Okay, schedule a public hearing on the smoke shop law.
Yes, so our moratorium has been extended once already. The extension is going to run out at the end of next month. We don't have the text for the proposed smoke shop law ready yet, but I would like to schedule a public hearing for our second meeting in March, on March 24th. So that when we'll be ready for when the text is available.
I'll be text at least by March 14th.
Yeah, Matt and I are going to meet later this week to work on that text. Basically, what we're planning on doing is modeling it around the cannabis legislation that we passed previously. Since the smoke shops, they're also required over 21. The state legislation allowing cannabis specifically said that cannabis was supposed to be treated like tobacco cigarettes. So we're kind of turning it around and okay, well, we'll treat tobacco the way we're treating cannabis from the smoke shop standpoint. So we'll definitely have a text for the board and for the public well in advance of that meeting.
And for those of you in the audience, we were very cautious about where we allowed the sale of cannabis. And then we were even more cautious or extremely cautious about the uses, the places that you could go into, like an establishment to consume marijuana. You know, but the types of locations we try to avoid are anywhere near residential neighborhood, schools, public places, churches. And so the town is very
And from each other and not.
large and complex, but we have not totally denied these functions, but they're only allowed in certain safe locations. So with that, I thought we had a couple of public hearings already scheduled for March 24th.
25th.
Oh, we scheduled the others on the 25th, a Tuesday, so. Okay, so there's nothing, so this would get scheduled at 6. This would be 6:05 then. That's what my line of questioning was trying to line up the time.
Correct. So,
Okay, so I have a motion from Max to schedule at 6:05. Did I request a second? No, I'll take that from Jack. We'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Main motion's carried.
And I have just one more one. I was also hoping that we could schedule another public hearing for the same day related to the zoning change at Old Stone House.
Sure.
Because we did hear back, the planning board gave an approval to that or recommendation to go ahead with that change. And we also heard back a no recommendation from Onondaga County, which is normally what they do for these kind of things. So we're all set
Okay.
to make that change as well.
Okay, so I have a motion from Max. Do I have a second to set from Sarah to set the public hearing at 6:10? I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried. Okay, Chief Spencer, budget adjustment for the police department?
Sir. Good evening.
Chief,
I have two adjustments I'd like to get your authorization for. Last year, we received law enforcement technology grant for $57,000. And when we did the budget last fall, we forgot to allocate $15,696 to a budget line. I'm looking to have that added to our police equipment line, which is the last three of 233. That would put all the law enforcement tech grant money into one line and allow us to update our body worn camera system. We're working with Motorola for. So that was the first thing I'm looking to do. And in the revenue line, it shows the 54,900 that's left. So just putting that money into a line so we can allocate it. And we have to use that law enforcement tech grant by the end of this March. If we don't use it, we lose it. So
I pushed her up so she could get out early, but I'm assuming the
I
comptroller.
did meet with the comptroller. She's aware of this. And then I did bring it to the budget committee at our meeting beginning of the month, and the police commission that's all aware are approved and for this measure.
Any other questions from the board? Okay. I'll entertain a motion. Sarah, a second from Jack. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Abstain? Motion's carried.
And then the second one, because we're going to use the law enforcement tech grant money to upgrade our body worn camera system and hopefully our interview rooms. In the budget, there was $32,101.70 in our body camera line, which is the last 236. I'm looking to adjust that, but then also into the police equipment line of the last 233. Basically, we were prior administration had thought they were going to apply from the Fed Narcotic Fund to outfit our department with firearms, new firearms. That's a heck of a process when you get into it. It's going to be, it could be months, it could be not the amount that we thought. So the idea behind this, by moving this money, would be to use the money to upgrade our firearms and move to a 9mm platform, which has been, I think, the talk in the works for years, hasn't been done. So by using the law enforcement tech grant for the body cams, we can use this money for firearms. And there's multiple reasons why to go to the 9mm. I'm not really a firearm expert, but the ammo is much cheaper. 45 is very expensive, and most departments are moving to a 9mm platform for various reasons. So looking to allocate that money so we can do both those upgrades this year.
Any questions? Yep, comments?
Chief did brief police commission on this as well.
Yeah.
I just have a question. I read things about locally with some of the police agencies being unhappy with the body camera systems that they have. Are you comfortable with what we have? Do you feel are they working properly? Had any issues with?
Our current body cameras are outdated. The new, what we're gonna go to hopefully, but is much better. So currently what we have about 2020 was the first body cams made by a company called WatchGuard. Motorola bought out WatchGuard. Currently, the batteries don't hold up. They don't last full entire shifts. They fall off people's vests if we're in some sort of use of force. They don't have redaction capabilities for people when they foil or want the body cam footage. You can't redact people's faces and stuff. So going to this Motorola upgrade, we get the cloud service. We have redaction. The Motorola has done a wonderful job. The guy came in and gave us a big 1.5 to 2 hour spiel on these cameras. The technology is much further advanced than where it was 5 years ago. So I think this upgrade will really help us out, and it improves our discovery purposes too with the DA's office. As far as having the cloud right now, it's kind of a drag on our clerical staff because most agencies have a link that they can just have, or they have a setup where the DA can basically just click a link and they do all the downloads, where now we have to download it ourselves from one thing, put it to another system and email. It's just a kind of a time consuming process. So this upgrade will do a lot of things that we can't do currently. Like we have no ability to redact anybody's faces from our body cam or anything. So if there's vehicles, there's witnesses, if it happens to be a deceased person, we can't blur that out. We have to give it all to whoever, it could be the media, it could be whoever foils it. So this upgrade is gonna be really big for the department.
Great, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? With that, I'll entertain a motion. Jack, and a second from Sarah. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Keep that rolling, guys. I saw in the packet.
We have one at 6:05 town.
$12,000.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask about.
We're right, so 6:10 is gonna be
Okay.
smoke shops.
They-
I'll publicly say that you were right. I was wrong.
So that's gonna be.
Do we have something?
I was gonna ask about,
We have, 6:05, we have, the Tom Greenwood.
we just correct the 2 times in one motion.
Yep.
Yeah, I would just state 6:05, we have
Okay.
this hearing, and we'll do 6:10, we'll be.
Do you need a
smoke shop.
formal vote?
I mean, what do you?
I would just,
I just state, entertain a motion to correct the
Be careful.
times on public hearings for
That's my neighbor.
You're good.
6:50.
Report speed.
Yeah.
You're good.
That's
All right.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
Entertain a motion from Max, a second from Jack. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion's carried. We just corrected the times that we established this past 2 public hearings. Trying to hopefully let you guys follow along. All right, we've got town board minutes that need approval. And we'll do that in back-to-back resolutions as well. We have the town board minutes of February 3rd. I'll entertain a motion. Bernard, a second from Carrie. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion's,
Harry and was it Bernard?
yeah, Bernard and Carrie. Bernard had the motion, Carrie had the second. I'll entertain a motion from Bernard and Carrie to approve the minutes of February 10th. Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried. Okay, we have the check registers. And we can approve the 2 of these for February 14th and 18th in the same vote.
Got discussion.
Yeah,
Page 56 shows for McGinnis Nelson Construction Boardwalk, $215,673. I didn't know that job was done. Has that job been completed? I didn't think that it was.
I don't believe it is, and I don't believe that's all the funds that they're allowed.
I need Rocco Doug for that one.
Yeah.
Pardon?
I would need Rocco with Doug to help with that one. I'm not.
Yeah.
No, I talked to Rocco about it a couple of days ago and he said that it hadn't been done. He wanted to talk to him about it because we were having trouble with McGinnis. Nelson was putting the window in and planning and zoning. And I had asked Kerry Fussell, don't pay him anything until we get that window thing resolved. How we doing? What are we
Probably
doing?
do executive session.
Huh?
Probably executive session.
This is an executive
For sure.
session discussion. Okay,
How come you brought it up then?
I brought the check registry up, the
That's what this
approvals.
is.
I know. Yeah. So to me, what that means is that check's been written.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
That's why I'm questioning it.
yeah. So we need to discuss,
Okay.
we need to discuss any further action in executive session.
As an item related to the contract.
Yeah, okay. We are about to enter executive session. If you need a signature for your social studies class or whatever, you can approach the board.
Want to do the motion for the check? First, you want to do the.
Oh,
We can do the one for 214.
You have a step increase?
that's an executive session.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Mr. Supervisor, before you go to the executive session, can I just speak out of turn? I should have brought it up,
Sure,
petitions on boneheading.
sure.
I just wanted to thank the town of DeWitt Police Department, Alex Fortini, for retrieving $21,000 of money that was scammed by my family, my wife and I, for an addition we were gonna put on our house. We gave the contractor half down of $20,000 or $40,000. He wanted half down and then he absconded with our money. But with the help of the town of DeWitt Police, Officer Fertini got all of our information. Then got in contact with the contractor, advised them that it's fraud, that he would be arrested. And then also, he also got the DA's office involved, and lo and behold, when they told him he might be wearing an orange suit, we got our $21,000 back. So.
That's a great story.
Chief,
Thank you for coming and letting us know that.
yeah, it's great. They did a great job.
If you're amenable to it, the Eagle newspaper is sitting right behind you. Oh, no, thank you. In fact, I came here late, but I should have walked up to you and asked, hey, how you doing? And
Great.
what you're here for.
I haven't been in a while.
I know, but
Been a while.
you didn't I would have done you earlier and you wouldn't have had to sit here all night.
Was he arrested, chief, for other infractions the contractor was talking about?
I don't believe so,
Yeah.
no.
They had a really extensive report that DeWitt did. And then they got the DA's office involved with it. And then they took it from there. But it was the town DeWitt's initial report. And even the DA, the investigator said, oh, this police officer did his homework. This thing is perfect. And again, I guess once they broke the news to them that, what were you thinking we're doing here? I wasn't the only one. I guess two other people involved.
Got a few contractors in the news that have been doing that exact same thing, so that's certainly been around.
That's a great story because typically what you hear is they don't, the recovery of funds is,
They spend the money and go to jail.
That's what we thought. We figured, well, that's all right. There you go.
yeah, that's great. Thank you. All right. Board updates. Do you have any?
Oh, I attended AOT, the Association of Towns,
Yes.
and the biggest change was they weren't offering food this year, but they didn't tell anybody. So they didn't have any breakfast for anybody in the morning, but it was really good. I think the biggest takeaway for us, there was a lot on infrastructure.
Yeah.
There was a lot of information on water, whether it's lead mitigation or just updating your pipes. And Syracuse University was there. They have a consortium out of their environmental finance team. And they're going to attend one of our lead committee meetings. Basically, they have all of the various grant options from local through federal. They have all of the connections they briefed, and there's ways to do multi-project endeavors and how to line them up. So they'll be, because they're local, we're very fortunate to get their help on that.
Environmental Finance Center?
Yes.
Yeah. Chris Dotson there or
No, it was a younger woman.
Meredith Perot?
No,
All right, anyways, they do a great job.
Yes, they were highly knowledgeable. We got some information from them, and then there was talk about home rule, specifically the hotel tax, and petitioning the state to make that into perpetuity versus a 2-year renewal. So it's gaining traction at that level. And
From other towns, from everyone who's receiving the tax, right?
yes, yep. So
Was there a whole lot of towns that are doing the hotel tax?
it didn't have a breakout. It was during one of their larger sessions, but they just said there was enough of the membership that has inquired about this. And that the hotel tax was the most obvious one, but any other home rule taxation that generally we have to either petition for or towns are included in, that the county just takes, they're looking to catalog all of them and see what we can do in terms of allowing the towns to get their share. So.
Nice.
But other than that, yeah, there will be no more food moving forward.
Unlike me, you went on vacation and came back lighter.
And I sent out an email, I think on Friday, about a potential developer that is looking at some of the more dilapidated hotels in Carrier Circle to turn them into residential multifamily apartments. It's worth the discussion at the town level to say, how do we feel about it? I mean, do we think, yeah, you know, we'll take a baby step and possibly think about it, or are there people that are just outright opposed to it?
I thought it was worth looking at.
I would agree. I think it's worth looking into, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's worth looking into, but be cautious in transportation. Ability of the persons that live there. If they are housing compromised, do they have transportation to get back and forth? The buses.
The bus, sir.
The buses that go out there, not frequently, you know, with the schedules of work. I mean, so I'm for the housing, most definitely. But there's a lot of wraparound services, I think, that need to also be included in that conversation.
I couldn't agree with you more. My other office is over on General Motors Circle, and I drive Carrier Circle all the time. And there, we have a mobility plan from SMTC that they perform for Carrier Circle that should be the foundation for future work. We had an agreement at one time with the county to do some infrastructure improvements around that district, and one of the big needs is sidewalks in and around Carrier Circle. We have 20, at one time, we had 30 hotels. We have 26 hotels in the Carrier Circle area now, and a number of them are very dilapidated, rundown hotels and have become centers for drugs and prostitution for the thruway. So it warrants a look at whether housing could help take some of the tax off of those hotels for those other uses. But you're certainly correct that mobility, the workers right now struggle to get in and out of the hotels. And with the snow being high and pushed off the road, at a minimum, a good sidewalk plan. And it's all state and county highway. So that's part of our problem. We struggle. Right now, we had a request for Fly Road for a sidewalk in front of the project, and the county's denied it. So it's not unusual for us to struggle with state county DOTs to get. So that's a huge hurdle.
There any room for us to bring the Centro conversation into this potential conversation?
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Together, who's heading that from the town? Anybody?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, I've reached out to Central in the past on our isolated instances. For example, right now, we'd like Central to expand their mass.
Yeah.
Their rapid bus transit routes into DeWitt.
Yep.
Yeah, and so that's an ongoing request, and I know Central is aware of it. We haven't heard whether it's gonna happen again. I know Alana's been aware of this issue as well. So it certainly warrants a conversation with Central, and it certainly warrants a conversation with the state county DOTs regarding that. And we have a good solid plan in place.
Initiative like this could.
Yeah, right, yeah. Maybe that goes hand in hand.
They won't be able to say, oh, you don't need it there.
Right, we have a veterans center there as well right now. And so there's a lot of reason we wanted to connect Carrier Park to this, right? Folks that live there could go recreate at the park and come back
And we were out there because of, house caught fire. I just noticed the number of people who walk.
Yeah.
All the way up Thompson Road to James Street to catch a bus. I just couldn't imagine people living without some form of regular transportation. That could get them back and forth, children to school. I mean, it's just a lot that would go.
Yep.
That I think needs to go into it. I'm most definitely for taking a look at it for the housing prices that the county is facing. But just all of those ancillary services that need to be in consideration. shopping, where do they go shop? I mean, it's just, if they don't have quality housing now, but then how are they gonna manage
You're absolutely,
living in a very isolated, community?
you're absolutely right. Okay, so another planning issue.
Is there any way that we could get Blue Vale, not Center State, to talk with us about questions that we have and how they'd be willing to work with us? My concern is if they work through Center State as an intermediary, Center State is very close with both the city and the county. And those priorities may be more preferred over ours, but we're closer to the actual community. So I want to make sure that we're able to drive some of that discussion for what benefits DeWitt or DeWitt communities versus hopes and dreams of a higher level of government. Makes sense.
It certainly does, yeah.
Could be have some contacts for them.
They seem like a decent
Same.
company. I did snooping.
Alana, they've reached out to us before. It's the same company I'm thinking of. Same company I'm thinking of with the apartments and the hotels on Thompson, Bluebell, right?
Yep.
So they've reached out to us before. We just haven't had a formal meeting with them.
Yeah.
But if the board is showing interest in doing this, then we definitely will meet with them.
Even if it's collating questions, 'cause I've got
I'm friendly with an attorney who's working
like
with them.
20.
The attorney working with them.
Schedule it off, and you'll have 40.
I believe the attorney who's working with Bluebell's on our zoning board, so I can.
That'd be fantastic.
About what's going on.
And unrelated, one of the other areas that AOT is looking at is getting towns onto pilots. Being able to have some of that, the tax revenue from pilots being dropped down to the town level. That was one of the biggest
You're in favor of that?
discussions.
Okay. Yeah, that's, the pilots over the years have killed us.
Still do.
Okay, excellent updates. All right, we're gonna enter an executive session in a moment. So again, if you have record keeping or paperwork that you need a signature on, please bring it to myself or any one of the board members. And we'll sign it.
Nine?
All the irons and crosses all the T.
It's three. They don't take 5 minutes. I don't know. There's a signature.
Got it. You guys, buddy, see me when I get to that. Get out of here.
Thank you. Thank you. He attended the.
Thanks for coming.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
All right, have a.
Thanks, Kevin. Thank you.
I follow the chair.
Scott, what are, this goes,
Yeah, both.
yeah,
Yeah.
look like.
All right.
Tough loss Saturday, huh, Jack?
12.
I turned it on in the last 5 minutes and I was like, oh.
Didn't pay a lot of the DA's off. Also, last day. They got a check.
Jack's grandson,
Yeah.
tough game.
Yeah, they lost to North Carolina, Petромel.
Now it's a 15 grand.
Oh,
Says I got 2 other checks. I got.
They're 3-0, so we're 4-1.
Pretty hard to go undefeated.
I guess they.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
4 good wins, right? So they're 4-1.
Yeah,
yeah.
at Virginia this Saturday and then at home on March 9th. Cuse lost to Harvard.
She's been.
Yeah, I know, that was a tough one. Yeah.
In lacrosse, see, I've been gone for a week. Hughes lost to Harvard.
Harvard,
First time ever.
first time ever. They beat
You
us.
said Yale, I might have, traditionally Yale's been a part. Yeah, okay, I'll entertain a motion. to enter-
After I watched John Hopkins lose, I turned on the Syracuse game. I was like, I was like,
On the second from Jack.
Having a day.
All in favor?
All right.
Opposed, same, motion's carried. Good night, folks. Thank you.
Bye, Jason.
Thanks.
Oh, easy.
Appreciate you sharing that. Thank you. Very good. Yeah.
I should have told Jason, my grandson scored the winning goal for FM hockey in double overtime.